With Britain still deep in recession, unemployment rising, and a general election just around the corner, what's in store for North Wales, Flintshire, Cheshire and Merseyside? Let's go inside number 10 Downing Street and talk to the Prime Minister, Gordon Brown, and just see what he has to say. Good morning, Prime Minister.
Good morning.
Thanks for taking time out of your busy day to speak to us. Can we begin with the car industry, if I may? We've in North Wales and Cheshire with Vauxhalls and Merseyside with Jaguar. What is the future for the car industry?
I think the car industry has proved in Britain that it's capable of adapting to new conditions. And the next stage for the car industry and great opportunities is when we move to hybrid and electrical vehicles. And it's good that the car industries of the Northwest, Vauxhall, Astra, obviously now Magna, and it's good that Jaguar, and it's good that other companies actually, some of the Japanese companies, are leading the way in this new development for the car. So we are putting in a lot of investment. We're prepared to support it. We've got funds that are available for the companies to develop the new products. And we're determined that we build a successful exporting future for the car industry in Britain. And I think a measure of that is the scrappage scheme, which has been very successful actually, not only in helping the car industry in the Northwest and Wales, but equally at the same time, I think 11% of the purchases under the car scheme have been in the Northwest, 4 or 5% have been in Wales. So it shows that the car scrappage scheme, which is now what, 250,000 cars that have been bought under that, has worked well to help recover the car industry now.
Right. Can we now talk about Airbus, if I may? Peter Hain, on a recent visit to Airbus at Broughton, suggested that those jobs at Airbus and the A400M project were only safe under a Labour government. And the Conservatives have angrily come back and said that that is just completely wrong. What's your view, Prime Minister?
Well, I think they are safer because of the interest that we've taken over these years. We've invested a huge amount in Airbus. We've committed ourselves to the new projects. We've invested a lot in launch aid. I've been at Broughton myself, met the workers, great team of people, met the apprentices who are training for the future. And I think our commitment to the industry is well known, and whatever we have to do in the future, I think people will find that we are the party committed to the future of this great industry in this country.
So we're happy that the investment will remain.
Well, we announced amounts of new investment in the summer. We're training new apprentices for the future, and we believe that there is a great future for this industry.
Mm-hmm. And of course Airbus, because the wings are made in Flintshire and the final assemblies in France and parts are made in Germany. I mean, Europe is a big thing. Now the Conservatives, their view of Europe is clearly very different to your government's.
Well, I think you'll see that Airbus represents a common European endeavour, and 60% of our trade is with Europe. You know, there are 750,000 companies in the whole of Britain, and that means there's tens of thousands of companies in the Northwest and Wales who depend on trade with Europe and contracts with the European Union. And if you're exporting as a company from this country, you're likely to be exporting to the European Union. Now, millions of jobs therefore are dependent on it. Break these links, or narrow these links, or don't value these links, and we put jobs at risk. And I think what people are worried about is that the Conservative position is putting their own self-interest as a party, because they're totally divided on Europe, before the national interest. And the national interest must be that we work with our European partners to get the jobs for Britain. And particularly at this time when we've got a recession and we're coming through and hopefully out of this recession, our trade links are so valuable. We're going to trade our way out of the recession by increasing the amount of exports that we have to Europe and to the rest of the world. So our European Union membership is important, and that's always been recognised in Wales and the Northwest, where people are appreciative of the fact that they have strong links with the European Union and the countries of the European Union.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned the recession there, Prime Minister. France, Germany, Japan are now out of recession. Why isn't Britain out of recession yet?
Britain, as you know, has got one of the biggest financial sectors in the world. So proportionate to our economy, our financial sector has been so much bigger. And because this has been a financial recession, we're bound to be heavily affected. The other thing is that Britain is a great trading nation, and we rely on open trade, but there's been a 10% fall in trade around the world. So These have been two problems that have hit Britain most or more than some of the other countries. On the other hand, I think you'd have seen that we've kept unemployment lower than in other countries, that we've got measures that are helping people back into work quickly. And so while unemployment's over 10% in some of our European countries, I think it's 17% in Spain, it's 10% in America, our unemployment level is probably prevented, it's 8% or so in the United Kingdom, 7.9%. So we are continuing to come through this difficulty by trying to keep as many people in work as possible. When people lose jobs, get them back into work as quickly as possible. And I think you can see that in all the measures we've announced for young people, school leavers, and to help adults back into work. So while it has been a difficult recession, and we're hopeful that we will be out of it by the end of the year, as I've said, at the same time, we have done everything during this recession to protect homeowners against repossessions and to protect people against both the loss of the jobs and then help people back into jobs.
Right. Talking about banks, obviously the government has used vast amounts of taxpayers' money to bail some banks out. Are we getting value for money?
I think we're going to get the money back, and I've always said that we want to be in a position where it's not the banks that are paid for by the government, but the banks that are paying money to the government. And so we've took over Northern Rock, and we're getting repaid a lot of the money now, and Northern Rock is still trading and employing 3,000 people under the Conservatives who've just gone under. We've tried to restructure the Lloyds TSB and the Royal Bank of Scotland, and we're making progress in that, and we will gradually get our money back for that. I think it's important to recognise if we insure a bank against its losses, we are charging an insurance policy, and we want that money paid for by the banks to the public for our effort in helping them keep going. So this is not about giving money to the banks, this is actually about us having money from the banks for the services that we've given to them. And I believe at the end of the day we will have more money coming from the banks than we've had to lend to the banks.
Okay.